You know, networks don't talk about it.
Big Doug.
Does your wife hate you because you're busted?
Government can't tax it.
Big Doug.
Did you blow the kids' college fund on bad picks?
But sports betting is a $200 billion a year business.
Big Doug.
Telephone turned off? Mortgage payments 2 months behind?
A lot of gamblers out there, man. And they have needs.
Big Doug.
Your car repossessed? Call Big Doug.
And come Monday morning after a losing weekend, they got big needs.
Big Doug.
Gargantuan.
Mully and Hanley, Chicago Sports Radio 670 The Score. He is big, and his name is Doug. And he joins us now on the Home Run In Pizza Hotline. Visit HRIFamilyFun.com today. Good morning, Big Doug.
Hello, Muggsy. Welcome back.
Thank you, buddy. I missed the first edition of Big Doug, although I like to think that was just the 5th preseason game. It didn't count last week. It does count in the standings, but my absence didn't matter.
I guess the big question is, how was your visit to Betty Ford? Was everything okay?
She was lovely.
Well, because, Mitch Rosen, our guy, the program director of the Score, said your job was interfering with your drinking. And he got
Hey, when that happens.
Huh? What the hell does Mitch know? He thinks Tupac Shakur is a Jewish holiday. He's kind of stupid.
Wow.
Anyway, welcome back.
Thank you, my friend. It's time for Pick 5 with 55. I don't know if you've heard. Doug, what do you think about this is fun, the season starting in earnest tonight, no?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, take a look at it. This reminds me of when I was a kid, and my family got our first TV set. Everybody around me had a TV set. Everybody. So finally my dad decided to join the modern world and gets a TV set. And this is, I think, of the Bears. They're finally going to a passing game. Now, you take a look at the last 6 years. 5 teams have won the Super Bowl. They were in the top 10 in passing. Only one was not, and that was in 1997. That was the Giants. And then you take also another thing the Bears changed. 17 wide receivers last year in the National Football League had 1,000 more yards, 1,000 more receiving yards. Nine were 6'2" or better. So I'm telling you, you've seen a change here. My old theory was run the football, stop the run, pressure the quarterback. Yeah, you need part of those things, but there's no question about it. But you've got to be able to score points, and I think that's where the Bears are. Yeah,
you converted a few years ago, Big Doug. I remember it used to be the old school, and then you're like, no, I see something changing here.
And it happened, Brian. You're absolutely correct. I mean, it's going all throughout the whole league. Now, there's one team that's left, and I think the best team in football. And that's San Francisco 49ers.
Yep.
They do it the other way. I think there was 4 teams that ran the ball more than they passed. And the 49ers were one of the teams, and they did it last week. They ran 32 times and passed 26. And, boy, I'll tell you what, they're old school. They're fundamentally strong. They're going to be tough to beat.
Well, shall we get to it, my friend?
Let's go, my friend.
All right. We should mention that in week 1, Brian went 3-2. Our caller went 3-2, and Big Doug went 1-4.
Shouldn't have gone against Purdue. Your son goes to school there. You said it, Big Doug.
I had it down, but I changed my mind. But you know what? This is what they call the old reel them in trick. Give them
the old rope-a-dope.
Yeah, and then just finish them off. I'm going to be hot this weekend.
I can feel it. Can you
feel it?
Yeah, the steam is rising from the phone line.
Nope.
It's always disconcerting.
I hope that's from.
Well, let's start. Hey, that's. Well, I'm sorry. That might have been my fault.
Yeah.
All right, Big Doug. Let's start with the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, new to the ACC. We might add. They take on one of these crummy Big Ten teams. Notre Dame at Michigan State, where the Spartans are excellent. And Notre Dame getting 4 points. Big Doug.
Well, I got to say, the question, they beat Purdue. I was talking about Notre Dame, obviously, last week. But the quarterback situation with Golson, who was very, very, very athletic. But they replaced him in the fourth quarter with Tommy Rees. In the last 2 minutes, the kid moves the football down for a field goal. They win the football game. The reason why Rees is out of there, I guess he got some problems in spring, and they suspended him.
His drinking got in the way of his job, I believe.
Is that what it was?
I believe he was at a party and he was. He was at a party and underage, and then didn't like the police intervening, and things happened.
Who starts? And I imagine O'Brien said no. Colson won't start. But anyway, Michigan State, it all depends on their quarterback. There's no question about that. And if they can get Andrew Maxwell going, last week he threw for 3 touchdowns against Central Michigan. But first week against Boise State, he threw 3 interceptions. But it's going to be him. And Levon Bell, the kid that rushes for Michigan State, is a consideration for the Heisman. I am taking, and last week I took the team that has the most criminals on it, and that was Notre Dame, but I've changed my mind. This week I'm going to take Michigan State.
I've heard the barking in the background. That means I'm taking the underdog. Irish in the points. I'll take the 4. Yeah, I think Irish wins that one. Win that one straight up.
Brian, they can't take the Irish out of you, can they?
Nah, sometimes.
I know.
What have you heard?
Our caller this week is Eric, and he's in Ingleside, and he likes, sad to say, Big Doug, Michigan State.
Blast off, big ball.
Back door cracked, we don't need a key. He's waiting for me, we know Stash Polinsky. Had a bad week, don't have money. Will he understand, or will he flatten me? Crap, he's in a bad mood. Will he start freaking out?
Big Doug is gonna.
Stash is locking the doors. Don't think I'm getting out. Big Doug is gonna low. Big Doug is gonna low. Big Doug is gonna low. Big Doug is gonna low.
I'm gonna eat your liver with a nice Chianti.
Nice guy, huh?
It sounds so pleasant, the way you say it.
You got to get to know him. Okay, go ahead.
All right, we got Dallas -3 at Seattle, Big Doug.
Cowboys polish off the Giants in the first week. How about this Ogletree? I mean, this kid catches 2 touchdown passes. He's on the depth chart behind Austin and Bryant. But the running game, we go with DeMarco Murray, 131 yards last week with a 6.6, average. But, last year I thought Dallas was all hat and no cattle. This year I'm believing it's different. I believe Romo's looking very good. He was 22 out of 29, 307 yards, 3 touchdowns. But he's going to go into a noisy stadium. He's going to go play Seattle. Seattle runs the ball very well. They like to keep it close. They had a chance to win the football game on the last drive. And, Wilson didn't get it done, the rookie. Did not get it done. And this is why they let Tavares Jackson go last year. Because he was 0 for 4 in last drives and trying to make the final play to win the football game. So, like I said, Seattle keeps it close. They got a couple good safeties in defense in Earl Thomas and Cam Chancellor. But, Brian, this is going to be for you. Why is Dallas only favored by 3 points?
Now you're thinking my way, Doug.
And I'm
something smells.
It smells. It smells herring from Sweden. It smells. So I'm going to take Dallas.
Yeah, the Pokes, the extra time off because they played on that Wednesday night. They beat the defending Super Bowl champions. They're going into a team that played one bad half and start getting it together in the second half. I don't know. I'll take Seattle. Something smells here. I'll take the points.
Yeah, I agree.
Eric in Ingleside agrees. He also likes Seattle.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Doug's alone on that island.
That's a good island.
Get Dougie with it. Yeah. Get Dougie with it. Get Dougie with it. Yeah. Big Doug.
Here we go. The battle for the NFC North title continues with Detroit going into San Francisco, where the Niners already dominated Green Bay and plan to beat the Bears later in the year. The Lions are at San Francisco, -7 for the Niners.
Yeah, this game, they're calling it the Handshake Bowl. Be sure to watch the halftime show, a wrestling match in the steel cage between Jim Schwartz and Jim Harbaugh. Harbaugh's going off 5-1 favorite. Anyway, back to football. Detroit, 49 passes last week. Last year, they threw more passes than anybody in the National Football League. I believe it was 600-some passes. They only had 18 runs, and Stafford was 32 out of 48. His first, he was terrible. Stafford last week against St. Louis in the first half, he threw, 3 interceptions? But he comes back. He threw for 355 yards. Now, how many times last year did we see Detroit come back and win football games? They did again in this game. I'm looking at this, and, the run game for the Lions is anemic. Their secondary is poor. There's no question about that. And they lost that Bill Bailey, the cornerback, the rookie, and I think he had a concussion. But San Francisco, the best football team in the National Football League. There's no doubt about my mind. You got Alex Smith, 20 for 26 last week, just 211 yards, but the fact was 2 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. Last year, the turnover ratio for San Francisco was plus 28. And San Francisco last week ran for 186 yards. They had that, 112 of them belonged to Frank Gore. Remember I said at the beginning of the show, 4 teams last year ran the ball more than passing. Mm-hmm. Houston was 1, Denver was 2, Jacksonville 3, and, of course, San Francisco. I'm looking at this football game, and there's no question in my mind who's going to win this game because the best defense also in the National Football League is San Francisco. I'm taking San Francisco. I'm
right with you, Big Doug. You could be a letdown game from the Niners, but I don't think Jim Harbaugh lets his team fall into that trap, and it's a healthy line given the fact that Detroit can score, but they're going to run the ball all day, and that's something Detroit can't do, and then they're going to put up the points, and I think they'll win going away. 7, double that. It might be a 14-point spread.
Caller Eric from Ingleside, he's not sure if San Francisco is even the best team in the Harbaugh family, but he takes San Francisco too.
All righty.
I can't seem to face up to the facts. Lost all my money and I can't relax. I can't sleep cause I know he's at my door. Hear him every week on the score. I'm a psycho better and he's coming for me. Big Doug better. Run away.
Come here, you deadbeat.
There's nothing funnier than violence.
Bodily harm.
Oh, my God.
Russ does an unbelievable job. All right, we've got the Denver Broncos at the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons are giving 3 points, Big Doug.
Peyton Manning, 19 of 26 last week against Pittsburgh. I didn't think Peyton Manning would look this good, and he is looking good. He looks so good, I'm going to go out and buy a Papa John's pizza on him. Denver has been at Atlanta. But I think they beat them 7 out of the last 8 times. And they got a good running game. Denver with McGahee and Bell and Marino and 2 wide receivers that can really fly. There's Thomas and Decker. But when I take a look at this, I'm saying to myself, Atlanta, Matt Ryan, last week against Kansas City, 299 yards, 3 touchdowns, 23 for 31, and ran for a touchdown. They got some wide receivers, too. Julio Jones, Roddy White, Harry Douglas, Tony Gonzalez. So I'm looking at this and I'm saying to myself, where do I go? And once again, Brian, like I was last week, I am as confused as a baby in a topless bar. I will take Atlanta. I'm going to take Atlanta.
Yeah, I look at this and I sweat over it and I'm not sure. And 1 minute I'm saying, okay, Denver, no, I'll go with Matt Ryan. I'm going with Atlanta, too. I don't know why. Peyton Manning inside could be doubly dangerous as he was last week in Denver, but I'm going with Falcons, lay the points. Kansas City might be no damn good, and maybe that was an inflated score. It was all second half, too, but I'll take the Falcons.
Caller Eric always likes Denver in the Dome.
Big Doug has spoken. Big Doug has spoken. Big Doug has spoken. Get your bets in today.
Moron.
All right, here it is, the granddaddy of them all, the
Season
Rose
opener.
Bowl of professional football?
Huh?
I don't know. The primordial foes, Bears at Packers season openers, Brian says. The Bears are getting 6 full points, Big Doug. 2 field goals.
Whoa. You look at this football game, and it's a big game. Everybody says, well, the Bears, they can afford to lose. I don't think they can afford to lose. I think they got to go up there and start saying who they are and start playing that way. I see some problems with the Packers, and there's no question their secondary is a problem. I think their defense is the problem. Let me ask you two guys. Which defense would you choose better, Bears or Packers?
Oh, Bears, sir.
There. So we got one thing going for us right away. And so you say, well, the offense, you say, well, Rodgers can score, but wait a minute here. Stop yourself. The Bears are starting to come up here. The Bears are throwing the football. They're doing well. I mean, last week, Cutler, and this is what I judge a team on, yards per attempt, 9.51 per attempt, to 2 touchdowns to 1 interception with a quarterback rating of 98.9. Now, I understand that the Bears played in Indianapolis. Trust me, there's no comparison between Indianapolis and San Francisco. And Packers had to play San Francisco. But I see some problems up there. I think the Bears are going to be very careful, though, defensively, with a kid named Randall Cobb. They got to watch this kid. And last week he had, 9 catches for 77 yards. He also had a 75-yard punt return for a touchdown. And the other guy I think you got to keep your eye on, I don't know, Benson. I would imagine Benson would like to gore the hell out of the Chicago Bears like he did when he was with Cincinnati. I would think so. But the fact is, when it's all said and done with, I'm looking at the Chicago Bears. The only thing that I want to see different, and the only thing that can make this team better, start using the tight ends. Start throwing to the tight ends. I mean, every team in the National Football League uses the tight ends. We don't.
Hell, you got 4 on the roster, right?
Yeah, but a lot of times they're keeping them in for maximum protection and whatever the reason is. But you know what? The play action coming off it, I think they'd be wide open for this football game. Hope they can use it, maybe throw a couple screens in it, which we have not done. But as I look at this, and I know they're targeting, Marshall. They targeted him 15 times last year. I'll have news for you. When he was in Denver, they targeted him 360 times, and they had 200 completions when he was with Cutler in Denver. So when I'm looking at this football game, I'm not going to say even the Bears cover. I want to say the Bears win this.
Whoa.
Like your optimism.
I'm stepping out.
Well,
I'm stepping out.
And you know what? I hope I'm wrong, and I very well may be, but I don't see the Packers dropping a 3rd consecutive at Lambeau. Desperation a little bit for the Packers. They can't go down 0-2. I'll lay the points. Pretty healthy line, too, so I'll lay the 6.
We had a texter earlier saying, is that really losing 3 in a row?
Well, if you count the playoff game from last year. That's a pretty big game.
In Minnesota, the Bears are going for 3 straight wins.
Well, that was different. That's a playoff game versus a garbage game up in Minnesota.
Caller Eric likes the Bears, too, Big Doug.
There we go. Now we're cooking.
He won the Kentucky Derby riding a camel. He has a senior in high school. He hit 45 home runs without a bat. He dated Elton John for a year. At a fine Italian restaurant, they ran out of oregano. As a substitute, they used his chest hair clipping to rave reviews. He's the most interesting bookie in the world.
I don't always gamble, but when I do, I win. So call me, you moron, at 555-5555.
Stay Dougie, my friends.
You are the greatest, Big Doug.
All right, food for thought, boys. The universal question. Why do men die before their wives? And the answer is simple. Because they want to.
Oh, boy. All right.
Have a good day, boys.
Hope Mrs. Big Doug didn't hear that yet.